Welcome, everybody. We are live and borderline alive. Welcome to the Worst Golf Podcast. Everybody wants to be the best. We strive to be the worst. When a bad take is necessary, we're going to be here to share it with you. I'm your host, JB, and this is Morgan, who's barely alive with me this week.
Hi.
She's going to spend most of her time off camera, especially with the topics we have today, but she's going to be here to keep me in line with all those buttons. Before we get started, make sure you do all the normal stuff, pound that like button, subscribe, everything else. If you're listening to it, you're missing out, but we appreciate that. Live video is better, but obviously the audio is pretty good, and this show is going to be pretty audio focused, wouldn't you say?
I would say so,
Some
yes.
different types of conversations.
Plus, we're both kind of a hot mess, so.
Yeah, we are definitely a hot mess. If you hear something in my mouth, it's because I have cough drops going like crazy. You are barely hanging on by a thread.
I've got tissues in my hand,
Yeah.
and I'm literally wearing a dog mom oversized sweater because that's the best I could do right now.
We're basically just holding on enough to get through this show, and then we'll probably take a few hours to unwind and everything else. But we want to thank everybody for joining us. We do have a pretty good show this week. Contest announcement for a custom wedge coming up later on in the show, and that lucky winner is going to get a consultation with Jose Miraflor, myself, and pick out what they want, and then the little rat will grind it down and send it to you. So pretty awesome prize. We got a bunch of THPR questions. We're going to get to, I'd say 5, 6, 7 of those, as well as our normal venturing off topic
randomness. Yeah.
But we're going to jump right into a THPR question, which is one that I get a lot, and I thought it was a pretty interesting question and answer / conversation. So we obviously want to hear from you guys too. And it was about release cycles in golf outpacing innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And does that mean that because a company is coming out with something every year or every other year, is it more of a, we're going to repaint it, or is there actual innovation going into it? And it's something that I think about a lot, and I talk to a lot of people about this. Years and years ago, it was 2-year release cycles.
Right.
Now, that was done for a number of reasons, one of which that's often misthought or misunderstood or not thought about at all is the reason that it took longer for a new product to come out was less about new innovation being available and more about the training it took, because most items were sold at green grass pro shops. So a company, let's use Titleist as an example, would have to go and visit all of those pro shops and do all the training.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that could take 6, 7 months.
Sure.
You can't have a new product come 3 months after that. So as R&D departments, for lack of a better term, engineers became more prevalent, technology became more high-end and high-tech, it evolved into, well, we have these products ready. Should we hold them for the sake of holding them or release when they're available? And it goes back to the same thing. If a company releases driver 1 in 2022, should they buy double the amount and let it run through 2023 and come out with new in 2024? Or is it available? Should they just buy what they do and then come out with the next product, which creates buzz and everything else? I always go back to the same thing. There's never been no innovation put into a new product. Now, does that mean it's going to work better for everybody? Yeah, no, that's not the case. But every single product is evolving to another thing. Not every product is going to be record-breaking evolution where, like, I go back to when Callaway launched the first Epic,
mm-hmm.
and, that changed stability, and then they brought, artificial intelligence into it. And some other companies have done other things when carbon fiber came to be and things like that. Movable weights, when TaylorMade did that with the one of the 6 or 7 R7 models they had, that released every few months. But the idea that product cycles, that 2 years is somehow some arbitrary number, because it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
There's no, 2 years is where the innovation takes place, but 1 year is too fast. Well, what made 2 years to the innovation cycle?
Yeah, agreed.
They have more than twice as many engineers now at some of these companies. In fact, for some of the larger ones, you could say they have 10 times as many engineers. Now, but I'm going to go a step further where people say, well, Titleist releases every 2 years and Ping is 18 months. Why does Callaway, Cobra, TaylorMade, et cetera, release every year? Well, that's not really the case.
No.
So Titleist releases every 2 years on drivers, but they have a new product launch every year.
Yeah, I think people forget the difference between release and product launch.
Yeah, because Titleist will released, the 3 TSR models just recently, and they have another driver coming out right away that's going to be TSR1. It's not like that was held back because of innovation or it wasn't ready. And then going a step further, they release irons every other year with hybrids. So it's not like innovation stops and they're stopping engineering. It's that they're timing it to match when sales cycles go. So, and I know I'm all over the place, so please forgive me. But if this is the year line, okay, and for those listening, I'm drawing like a straight line on the screen. It's not real straight because I'm not real straight right now. If the largest sales take place, let's say in March or April, you want to make sure your innovation is timed with that. So, for instance, when companies release in January, they're getting it ready, launching it used to be launching it to the media, launching it to their sales reps and everything. So it's ready in March, April, May for the largest months. Mm-hmm. That also coincided in years past before, I'll call it the technology age of the internet, with the PGA Merchandise Show, where the PGA Merchandise Show was a great opportunity to have all the media and all the green grass pro shops and buyers and retail store buyers available in one place, so you could get everybody together and go with your pitch, I'll call it. Times have changed a lot since then, but the idea that there's a arbitrary number of months that have to pass before innovation takes place is just, it's not even reality.
No, not at
nobody
all.
gets mad when fill in the blank new flavor comes out in peanut butter
or Oreos,
but they do in golf clubs, yet nobody's forced into buying it. Now, I'll use this one as an example because this is a recent release and in the ultra premium category, so it's pretty expensive. And for those looking, it does not look green. Even though we have green tint lighting in here, it looks silver, like a metallic charcoal gray. This is something that was worked on for a number of years. And I remember being at Callaway's office and seeing, I don't want to say this, but what would be something like this a while back. And I asked and got no information, of course.
Right.
But so it's not like one driver ends, they bring it to market, and they start working on the next one. They're constantly working on ways to bring new things to market, prototyping, testing, and going from there. The CAD monster is not in there just designing clubs on their own and doing it. So I think that's one of the, I hope I answered that question well, but that's one of the one area where I always get confused on why is a certain number of months arbitrarily set up as the standard of when innovation is allowed to take place. Nobody gets mad that Hyundai releases a new car every 12 months.
That's true.
And, because somebody could say, well, with the food examples, you could just go out and buy it because it's $3 or $4. Well, now it's like $6. But
I
know, nobody gets mad that fill in the blank A, B, and C and any other industry comes out with something new. And in some reason in golf, it's this evil thing of how dare they want to make money.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Sorry, I was holding back a cough.
No. Switch it. By the way, moving away from the microphone, they could still hear you.
I know, but I try.
Switching gears to something more lighthearted, we got a question. It really wasn't a question. There was a forum thread about different condiments and sauces, and people are going to disagree with my take quite a bit here.
I have a feeling I'm probably going to disagree with your take.
Ranch, honey mustard, and the like are not condiments or sauces. They're dressings. They're salad dressings. Someone choosing to dip French fries into a salad dressing is up to them. Blue cheese is another example of that, although the actual cheese being different. It's even called blue cheese dressing.
It is.
People seem to get confused with this in a huge way.
This is a hot take over here.
Am I crazy? For those following along live, is honey mustard a sauce? No, it's a salad dressing.
Okay. Can I? All right.
Yeah,
okay.
Please.
So, sorry. We're horrible. Sorry. So bad. I I agree with the sense that
It literally says it on the package.
No, I get that. It is a dressing, but it's also a dip. I don't see why it can't be both because ranch on salad is disgusting, but ranch as a dip for like
No, buffalo sauce is not a salad dressing. Oh, you magic ass.
What?
It's literally in
No.
the name. Buffalo sauce is a sauce.
Okay, I get your point here. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think your point is valid. I really do. But I also do think that they are sauces. Like honey mustard is way better with like chicken fingers or even French fries than it is on a salad.
And that's fine, but it's still honey mustard dressing. That's what it's called.
I don't know if it actually says dressing on that one.
I can go to the refrigerator and prove it to you.
Fine, go.
I'm not going to get up during the show.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know about that. I think they can be both, and I don't see why they can't be both.
No, that's incorrect.
That's right. Italian dressing can be a marinade, a fantastic marinade, and it's also great on potatoes.
Anything can be anything.
Well,
I could wear Italian dressing as a shoe, but it's still Italian dressing.
I don't actually think you can.
I could.
I mean, I guess if you
cut the top off, slide your foot in there. It's called Italian dressing.
It is. Ouch! I just hit my foot. It is, but I still think that I don't. They can be multiple things.
For what it's worth, I don't think we actually have honey mustard down there. But
no, actually, we don't because I made these like healthy chicken nuggets the other day and I had to make my own honey mustard.
Yeah, but if we did,
really good,
it would say honey mustard dressing.
Maybe.
Speaking of food,
yes,
because that's an amazing segue.
Yeah. Well, hey, I can taste it now, so I'm all in.
The only thing I taste is menthol from this cough drop. Somebody said
Miracle Whip is.
Nobody wants to see a foot go into a salad dressing.
No,
but you could do it.
Miracle Whip is disgusting.
I feel like we're gonna have to have Neil Javins, who's in the chat.
No, I can't take his
on once every few episodes to give us like a THP experience food recap.
Yes, but I was reading some of his takes.
No, they're not good.
Sorry, Neil, but
they're not good,
agree.
but they're
not
pointed. And I appreciate pointed.
Yes.
And he doesn't back down.
Stick to your guns. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that very much. But speaking of food,
yes.
Every year we do our Thanksgiving feast contest.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be launched early next week for those that might celebrate early or whatever. But that's always a ton of fun. All you got to do is snap a picture of your Thanksgiving feast. Neil said reporting for duty. Nice. And you could win a prize. And the prize this year is pretty awesome. We're not going to say what it is, but it's pretty awesome.
Okay.
It's not your typical prize pack. It's pretty awesome. We got some good stuff coming out.
I love seeing those pictures too.
Yeah, it's one of the most fun things. Even if you don't have a Thanksgiving feast to post, like go in there, chat with people about what they're making, find out what their favorites are, seeing all the pictures of everybody, getting everything ready. We want prep pictures. We want finished product pictures, like the whole 9 yards.
Plate pictures, and I'm definitely going to have some FOMO with that. FOMO, fear of missing out.
Oh no, I got you.
I just want to make sure that it was enunciated.
Yeah. Going back to THPR questions,
yes.
I got one that is super relevant right now because I literally had a call about this morning.
Okay.
That they asked me, quote, when we started the call, they said, "Are you dying?" Post-COVID golf adoption, both playing and buying equipment. And the National Golf Foundation puts out stuff, multiple times a year. And the golf rounds were actually holding pretty well, despite some weird weather going on. Both in comparison to last year, they're slightly down. But in comparison to 2019, before the pandemic, they were still up. So that's good news for golf.
Mm-hmm.
Bad news for your pace of play, most likely. But that's a good thing for golf. On the purchasing equipment, golf sales, and this was speaking strictly to this one retailer. It's a brick and mortar place that's very large. Their golf sales are still up versus pre-pandemic. It's way up from pre-pandemic. It's slightly off from last year.
Right.
But they did say foot traffic in the stores is still slightly lower than they expected.
That's interesting.
So, I don't know if we'll see a slowdown based on the equipment that we know is coming. I think excitement's going to be pretty high.
I think so too.
But yeah, I would say that overall, we're still in a pretty good spot for the golf industry. Normally, election years are bad years, but not the midterm elections.
Right. Yeah.
So
I see what you're saying.
The 2021 was kind of a weird thing because of COVID, but moving to 2024, we'll monitor it then. Do we have a dip before that, or does it dip at that time?
I wanted to touch base on something too when you were talking about pace of play because somebody had asked about that in the forum also. And I think because they were saying, like, why is pace of play so slow now? It seems like the rounds of golf are taking longer. And while I think part of it is courses trying to jam pack as many people in as they can, a big part of it is you have a lot of new golfers.
Yeah, I think so.
And when you have a lot of new golfers who don't know golf etiquette, they don't know the rules necessarily, and they're just not great golfers yet, they're a little bit slower.
Yeah, I think that that's probably a big part of it. And using an example from a local course here, one it's a nice local course. On the weekends, they're sending people out first and 10th and not staggering them well. So if you're the first group out on number 1, you're going to fly through the front 9 and then you're going to get to the 10th and literally stand still.
Which is horrible.
It's awful. It's a terrible process. They shouldn't do it. But, courses are doing what they can. Also, with the more golfers coming into play, it isn't really about skill level. It really is just about not knowing etiquette.
Yeah, I think that that's a big part of it is that they just don't know the etiquette yet. They're not really familiar with all the rules. They might not, like they get to a bunker, they're like, am I supposed to rake it or not? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, they don't know about any of that stuff. They don't know. And I'm going to say it again. Don't walk over and laser without your clubs and then go back and then get your clubs and then come back and be like, oh, that's not the one I wanted. And then go back again and back and forth because don't do that. And don't spend 45 minutes looking for your golf ball either. I just had to get that off my chest.
Stop making me laugh.
Sorry.
Jumping into the next THPR question, because this is another really good one and we get it a lot. How do manufacturers, be it equipment, apparel, footwear, whatever it is, handle feedback we give to them, positive or negative, especially negative? Somebody mentioned something that none of the YouTubers or influencers ever say anything negative because they want to work with these OEMs, and that's not how it's done. There was a video that I did for another outlet a while back on the business of THP, and I talked about this pretty much extensively, which is in 15 years of doing this, I've never close to 15 years. I've never once had a company say, actually, I take that back one time. I need you to put this message out this way. That's it. One time. And we said no. And that was the end of it. It's never been that way. I can also say that positive or negative, we've never had any blowback or anything, but I think a lot of it has to do with the way our website is designed. Now, there's a lot of publications out there, digital and print, that put out information, real or fake, and want to say, this is what you should play. We've always said that that's not the way we were going to do things. From the beginning, Morgan and I said we were about education and letting people tell us what we should play. Mm-hmm. So we do things a little differently. We take in as much information, we do testing, we do everything else, and then share that information to our community, who we ask for to go out and try it. And because our forum is public and heavily populated, there's nothing to really say. A company can come on there and see what the consumer says, the golfer says about their stuff. If they like it, if they don't like it, if they like the sound, if they don't like the sound. And I see Ryan Hawk up there make mention of Harrison Shopmaker, which was a funny one because they swore that the tour they didn't want to go out on tour because it would make the game unfair for those that are using it, which is crazy talk. And that was complete fallacy. But by having the forum the way it is, and you guys can share anything you want, we're not always going to agree with it. We, myself, James, Dan, and others might have had a different experience with something. We're going to share our point and have a nice little friendly debate on it. But we want everybody to share as much information as they possibly can on every product they try, so companies can get the feedback. That's why we do forum testing. That's why we do events. That's why we do everything else. So you guys can share your information.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
I actually think for the most part, and I'm going to say for the most part, especially if companies see the same comment, negative or positive, whatever way it is, over and over and over again, they take that to heart. They do.
I would say that's true.
And they tend to bring it to R&D and they say, okay, this is the feedback that we're getting. What can we do to fix that? or what can we do to enhance this going forward because it's obviously popular.
And they're going to say it with this one,
Oh.
that it's the best sounding driver that Callaway's maybe ever made. Pure sound, it's unbelievable. So I hope that answers the question about how we present feedback and how we take feedback back. I mean, we've had some companies make some funny remarks like, oh, they really loved that, or, stuff like that. But overall, I really think that that's something that it's about what you guys share, versus what we share. Our job is to share with you the information, and your guys' job is to take that information and do whatever you'd like with it. Forget it. Don't care. Try it out for yourself and share it. I can tell you, for those people saying the Ping Chief 2425 driver, I've had an actual conversation with that company about that, and they know it didn't sound good, or at least that our readers didn't think it sounded good. True story about that one that I don't know if we've talked about before. So when that driver first came out, we had our whole staff at our place in Nashville, and we were shooting videos, and we were going to do some live streams. And we put that driver together, and I think it was JD Tox and James that were testing it. And James was probably the biggest fan of the 400 line on our entire forum. Loved everything about it. Used it for over a year. He loved that driver. And we filmed this video, and the data was decent, but it wasn't the longest driver we tested. It was probably fourth or fifth, but that's usually the case with a lot of the Ping drivers we try in a vacuum, meaning in that when you're hitting them all back to back to back,
Right,
in a fitting bay. We never aired that video. And the reason being is we could not get it to sound even remotely positive.
yeah.
Like, the data was fine, but the sound was so bad in our studio, which didn't have the best acoustics,
But that's why I was laughing, because James literally wrote "broke my ears."
that it made the product look significantly worse than it would out on the course.
Right, like it wasn't fair to the product.
Yeah, so we didn't post it. Now we did go into the thread and say we tried and we didn't like the sound, and there's some people who took offense to that, which is funny because now everybody who's tried that driver has the same feedback about the sound. But it was as bad a sound as I had heard from a new product in many, many years. Right after a year after they had put something out about their new sound studio. But we knew we wanted to put something out because, everybody wanted to see it, and we never aired that video. And I think I still have the raw footage.
I'm sure you do.
There was one point where I want to say Jeremy hit it, JD Tox hit it, and you could hear the audible "oh" from the room because it was so loud and piercing that it just wasn't good.
Yeah. Can I just share real quick what's also not good? This energy drink.
Well, there goes that sponsor.
Sorry, Bucked Up, but this is terrible.
They're not good.
It's not good at all.
They will make you feel your hair grow, though.
I don't feel anything right now, but it's the Miami flavor. I don't know if the other ones are better, but it's not good. And
what does Miami taste like? Excellence?
Normally
Normally in
1983.
In the 80s, I would say Miami tastes like cocaine.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna say, yeah. I don't know if you can see this. Obviously, the listeners can't. It looks like Miami Vice. Like, it looks like 1980 something. And
it doesn't taste like Don Johnson in a can, because that would be amazing.
Oh, things just got weird. But this tastes terrible. Just random off the wall. Felt like sharing.
So, speaking of random off the wall sharing, it's time for your Get Off My Lawn. And you have a good one this week.
Okay, back to me then. All right. Yes, I do have a good one this week, because this is something I've been noticing recently when walking Arrow. And it's really driving me crazy. If you mow your own lawn, if you have a lawn service, this probably isn't going to be an issue. But if you mow your own lawn and you have your grass clippings get onto the sidewalk or your driveway or the main road, please blow them away. Please don't leave them there. Why do people do that? First of all, edging is important. And then take your grass clippings and get them off the sidewalk, because then it rains and people trample on it, and then the sidewalk gets stained, and it's just very unsightly and it's very annoying. And also, I don't know if you know this, but it's super unsafe to get it on the road, because motorcycles and bicycles. Wow, that was really hard to get. Motorcycles and bicycles.
You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm great. It gets real slick and you can actually wipe out. So just don't do it. Just take the blower and get it off there. That's all. So that's my Get Off My Lawn, and it kind of is fitting because it has to do with lawns.
Yeah, it is something that drives me crazy when we're walking air or something, and every house looks perfectly manicured, and then that one has grass clippings everywhere.
Yes.
You're just like 2 seconds. I'll even give you the blower to do
Yeah.
it. Um, Somebody asked a really good question about the hot list. Now, the hot list is something by Golf Digest, and it's head by Mike Johnson and Mike Stachura, and it's put out once a year. And they said, "Is the hot list still a thing?" And to answer the question, yes. Not only is it a thing, it's by far their biggest selling issue every year. And while I understand the gripes about the hot list, about everybody gets a gold and this and that, it's based on advertiser dollars, blah blah blah. I can't answer that last part. Um, it's a thankless job in a lot of ways, and I know Mike and Mike put a lot into it. Um, and Mike Johnson's been very good to us over the years with, I don't want to say education, but more direction early on. And I remember when he came to our house the first time, we had the party at Windermere and almost drove into our garage.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. He was
um,
he was a really nice guy though.
very nice. But it's a thankless job in that no matter what they do, there's going to be major blowback.
Sure.
And the hot list is designed to not be a ranking, but rather what's hot,
Hmm.
what you should be looking for. The problem with that is when you have a demand category, which I can't speak for sure, but I can say I believe it's going to go away. Smaller brands have no chance of ever getting a good, entry in. They can submit, but there's no chance they're going to ever get something really positive there.
Right.
Now, with that said, a lot of companies getting gold is because a lot of companies are putting out really good equipment.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that every company is exactly the same, because that is not true. But it does mean that the information is not exactly false. If that's I don't know the best way of saying it. I would take that information over 6 to 12 guys hitting in a simulator and averaging out data.
Mhm.
I think the information presented is real, and I know the work that goes into it is second to nobody. So is it going away? Definitely not. I believe there'll be changes there. I haven't heard that from Digest or anything, but I believe there will be some changes there, as I've read some stuff from some friends that believe that we're going to see, I'll say, more dynamic. Another question is for both of us.
Okay.
Quality or personal trait we wish we could change? And I'll let you go first.
Oh, put me on the hot seat here.
Yeah.
I would say for me, I have I have a lot of bad qualities, but I have two really bad qualities.
Decision making in marriage.
I'm going to skip over that one. I'm just kidding. It would be, I'm really quick to react to something. I tend to react fast, and it's one of two things. I'm either super fast to react, or I don't react at all because I have to like stew on it for a while. Like I don't have like a medium there. But I would say my worst quality is I'm incredibly untrusting. I don't believe anything that anybody says to me is true. No matter what you say, I will not believe you. So I will tell you, sure, whatever, but I will fact check it later. 100% I will fact check it later. And I've been like this since I could talk. I've questioned and fought back on everybody because I just am not a trusting person. And I wish that I was, but I'm not.
For me, obviously, I'm perfect. So therefore there's nothing I would change. No. For me, it's patience.
I was yeah, patience.
I'm probably the exact opposite of Morgan, is that I'm too trustworthy and too loyal.
Yep.
To a fault. But I have zero patience. And that goes for myself, for anybody else, and for everything.
Everything in life.
I don't expect people to run on my clock, because that wouldn't be fair. And that's something else I talked about in that same Business to THP video. But I do expect on time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would say just in general, like you just if you want it to be at that moment, at that time, whatever, and if it's not, like you get frustrated super easily. Patience is definitely the number one thing I would say.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
And I know my non-trusting thing drives you crazy too.
Yeah, it gets rough at times. And we have a lot of stuff going on.
We almost made it the whole show
behind the scenes. We still have a long way to go, but we have a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that will come to fruition at some point that we'll be able to share, both good and bad. But I saw Dean said you need to order faster at McDonald's. There's a true story. We're at the PGA show one year, and there's like 5 of us, and lo and behold, after a night of having drinks with, I think we were with Strixon or Cobra that night. We had a bunch of drinks. We going back to our cottage, I'll call it, condo.
Condo, yeah, it was
That
condo.
is 2 seconds away. We all get in the line to order, and then Dean's just standing there like, geez, what should I get? It's freaking McDonald's. There's like 4 items. Choose one.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I went like this. For those listening, I like motioned my hand back, and I think I poked him in the eye. But anyway, back to better topics. You have a recipe of the week this week since you skipped it last week.
I did because I couldn't taste. And
but this one is a really good one.
Yeah, okay. So this one, I actually mentioned something about this in the forum. Somebody was asking questions about what to do with ground beef, and I mentioned this. So this is a cheeseburger egg roll. I know it sounds super weird, but
no, it's so good.
Trust me on it. So you can get the egg roll wrappers usually it's in the produce section of the grocery store. That's where I find them. And you use, I know what it was. It was Laughing Cow cheese. Someone was like, what do I do with Laughing Cow cheese?
Yeah, that's what you use it for.
Yes. You have that. This recipe calls for that. You can use any flavor that you want in there. You can make it spicy, or you can do Swiss cheese or cheddar or whatever. It doesn't matter. But ground beef, hamburger seasoning, ketchup, mustard, some onion, and you'll see the rest of the ingredients. There's like 4 more. That's it. But it's super easy. And then you can either do it in the oven, or you can actually do it in the air fryer if you want to. But they reheat really well. And then you can dip it in whatever condiments, not dressings, that you want. I'll post this up on the forum, but
it's really good.
It's a big hit in our house. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, so making an egg roll is actually really easy. And the instructions are on here too. But you just need a tiny little bowl of water because you're going to use that to seal it. And you're just going to put it kind of like a diamond in front of you. Put a little filling in the middle. And then you just kind of roll it. And then you do each side. And then you roll it the rest of the way. And you just make sure that you wet it so that it seals itself.
It's called a burrito.
It's really easy.
THPR question asked about non-steel putter shafts. And J-Man on our forum's probably the expert on this because he's reviewed, I think, all of them or close to it. But in my line of thought, it's the same as everything. It's technology advances. Are they worth it? I don't know. That's up to the person. I think that there's something to it when it comes time to, as putter. It's the same reason. Okay, so going back, here we go again. Going back, people always say, why did putters get heavier? Well, they got heavier for multiple reasons, but one of which is because green speeds got way faster, and a heavier putter can help control that a little bit, and so on and so forth. And of course, help with stability of the head.
Sure,
so less twisting when you miss it off center, which happens way more than people think. It's like 95% of the time you are not going to hit the center spot, the balance point on a putter head. So as putter heads got heavier, shafts should naturally change. So there's no droop. And whether or not you can feel a droop or see a droop, it exists.
It's a weird word.
Yeah. So, obviously things have come out, and it started with a whole bunch of other options. I don't know who the first one was. I want to say it was Matrix Golf, but it may have been Kinetics. Matrix might have started it. Now, of course, there's the combos that are stability shafts, where they're steel all in from US Team Amiya, which comes in January. But it is available before that in the Cleveland putters and things like that. Now, people get confused with that with Stroke Lab, which was done for a different reason. Obviously, that's a byproduct. The stuff we just talked about is a byproduct from it. But it's also done because, as according to Sean Toulon, and he's talked about this on a couple of videos we did, as putter heads got heavier, they need to rebalance the putter and where weight was placed. So by doing so, they created Stroke Lab, which of course has become extremely popular. I hope that answers the question, but I believe there's something to it. Does it mean somebody can't putt with a standard steel shaft? Of course not. Go with what you like.
Exactly.
But, for the lunatic fringe that is our audience, if you think something's going to make you better, it probably is. And it's at least worth exploration. I'm not saying you should spend the money on one. I'm saying explore it. I use either a Stroke Lab shaft or a Kinetics or an all-in, depending on what one of the 3 putters I use. I love the Kinetics putter shaft. I think it's severely underrated. It took a minute to get used to. Once you get used to it, I don't know, there's something about it. Maybe it's mental. I don't know. But I hope that answers the question. And I think we should move right into the contest winner.
I think so. I feel like they've been waiting long enough.
Yeah. So the contest winner, we still have a couple more things to come after this, one fun one and one industry one. The contest winner is G-Man79. You just won a custom wedge from Jose Miraflor at Cobra Golf. So when this show ends, send me a private message and include your email address, because we may have to use that for the video conference, and we'll get this all set up for you and offer you some times in which you can make this happen. So congratulations. I look forward to seeing what you come up with, and I know it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. Congrats.
Next question is on supply chain issues other than clubs.
Yes.
And this is something we talked about with a couple of companies we were out in California, like components, where are you? And, we had a strong, or I guess you could say weak, grip inventory across the country for a while.
It was bad.
Yeah, we had some shaft issues. Then we had bag issues.
Well, because we had tankers going, into the water and all kinds of crazy stuff.
We had sock issues, bad sock issues. If people buy specific golf socks, there were some sock issues from a company that rhymes with Footjoy for a while. They're back on track. Golf bags were an interesting one because we went from having bags to having 0 bags to having bags not be able to be manufactured to over ordering and having possibly too many bags.
Yes.
But bags are in. There's no problems there. Grips are getting caught up.
They're getting better.
We're pretty good there. I know Lampkin is in a pretty good spot based on when I talked to them. Superstroke's in a great spot. Golf Pride was a little iffy.
Yeah, they were hit the worst, I think.
So there's some options there. I can't recommend the Lampkin ST enough. I know, speaking of J-Man, he's the one who referred it to me. I've been obsessed with that grip ever since. It's on all my clubs now, except one, actually. One of my wedges is not done I changed wedges and I haven't done it yet.
I bet you it was during the move and
probably
we didn't have a setup for it.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are, but golf balls was part of this. And that's an interesting one. If your golf ball is made in the US, odds are you are not having an issue. So Callaway, Bridgestone, and Titleist, there's not many issues. There are still some material shortages in some DuPont materials, but they're making them fast as they can. If your ball is from Japan, there's not many issues. If your ball is a direct-to-consumer golf ball, you might be having some issues.
Right.
They don't have a lot. They're buying a cataloged golf ball. There's no R&D in there. That's besides the point. If you like it and it works for you, that's great. But there are some issues there. Overall, there's still some supply chain issues, and there's ways to work around it. So you're not going to see a huge delay like we had before of 6 to 8 months to get clubs and things like that. But there are still some things out there that could hold you back. If somebody has a specific question about a product they're thinking about ordering, post it in this thread. I'm happy to look into it for you. But I believe that people moving forward are okay. And on these new releases coming, they're going to be in good shape. And the new releases are so good from the ones we've seen.
I know.
This is going to be a great year for golf equipment. Another question we got.
Yes.
Best frozen pizza.
Ooh.
And they said, why is it the Detroit one? And I'm like, that one's good.
Which Detroit
that deep
one?
dish one that you picked up for me.
The one at
Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's decent.
I haven't tried it, but I know you really like it. That's why I always get it for you.
It's good. It's not great. It's good. The two best frozen pizzas are the Screamin' Sicilian.
Yes, they make a good one.
And the margarita at Trader Joe's.
Oh, you do love the Trader Joe's pizzas.
Yeah, not all of them.
No.
But the margarita one is good. So those are the two. And anybody like KY Golfer in the chat says Jack's.
Motor City, that's what it's called.
Motor
yes.
City. He says Jack's. That's fine, but we're not on the same level.
Okay.
Giordano's is crap.
What about the old school like Red Baron? What are those called? The The little
You mean Stouffer's?
no. It's the Red Baron, but it's like in like an oval shape.
I have no idea.
Yes,
what
you
that
do.
is.
Somebody out here help me. You know what I'm talking about. They're the like original frozen. They're not like a whole pizza. It's like a little piece.
The French bread pizza?
Yes.
That's Stouffer's.
That's not Stouffer's.
It's
Red.
Stouffer's.
Somebody. It's Red Baron, right? I know it is.
It's not Red
I've even
Baron.
seen the commercials.
It's
Red
Stouffer's.
Baron. Yes. Thank you, French bread. And it is. It's Red Baron.
You're sure of this?
I'm gonna look it up because I don't believe you.
We're looking it up
He's
right now.
looking it up right now.
French
Somebody
bread.
out there, come on.
I see somebody. They're all saying Stouffer's.
No, it's not. Damn it. No, I think what is Red Baron then? Because they make
Red
one
Baron
too.
has a frozen pizza.
They don't make a.
I mean, they might. That's for the poors. Sorry.
I hate when he says that. I know he's joking, but I hate it so much.
I bet the people who got the Red
Red Baron had them.
I bet the people who got the Red Baron have green text bubbles.
No, they just got the better pizza.
No, they didn't.
See, Red Baron also. I knew I was right.
You can't trust people.
Thank
from
you,
Ohio
everybody.
with
I knew
food.
I was
Come
right.
on. But I agree with Neil. Red frozen pizza is not great.
No,
but
it's
there
not.
are a couple that are better than others. Screamin' Sicilian is one of them, and the Trader Joe's margarita style is fantastic. That is all we have this week. Cutting it a little short. We're only about 40 minutes in.
See, someone even has the Red Baron in their
Equals Android. That's what they wrote.
No, I have them in my freezer right now.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're not a subscriber of BarkBox and you have a dog, make sure you do so.
Speaking of a dog, look, he just popped up for a second in the video.
www.barkbox.com/THP Golf, and whatever you subscribe to, you'll get a free month added to whatever subscription model you choose. We also have a new sponsor.
We do.
We will be discussing that in either next week or the week after, but it's something every golfer needs.
Yes.
And we'll be discussing that further.
Absolutely. Everybody in general needs.
It's a good one, and we think that everybody should be jumping on board that one. So we'll share that with you guys soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. And don't forget, when we sign off, to like the video and leave a comment on what you think the worst segment was and why it was Morgan talking about Red Baron.
But I was right. I just want to point out I was right. I'm just saying.
So for myself and Morgan, bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.